I understand now we have a good friend of this program. He's been on before. He was the Attorney General of Oklahoma, and then he was the EPA administrator under President Trump. And now we have some
breaking news, WABC.
And the person with that breaking news, Scott Pruitt. How are you, sir?
Well, good afternoon to you guys. How are you?
I understand you have some announcement to make, and please tell WABC, and the whole East Coast will know.
Well, John, it's good to be with you all. And yes, I decided to run for the United States Senate here in Oklahoma. It's an open seat, and decided that recently. You know, when I left Washington, D.C., we were energy independent. We were exporting energy to the world of countries now that are suffering as a result of what's happening in Ukraine. And here we are 4 years later, John, from when I left, and we're energy dependent and reliant upon our foes for the energy that America needs. So it's a very momentous time in this country. We need folks in the U.S. Senate that have courage, that have conviction, but don't make it personal. You know,
and not only we're giving $110 a barrel to our enemies, to Russia, Venezuela. Now, the Arab countries were making them zillionaires again.
Yeah, and look, I mean, we need leaders to understand that this country doesn't have to be dependent upon these sources. We've got enough natural resources in this country, obviously, to serve our needs and the world's needs. And we see, John, when America withdraws, when America's not exporting energy to the world, what happens? We see the kind of events that's happening in Ukraine. Romania, Bulgaria, Eastern Europe, I mean, those areas of the world are desperate. They're hungry. They're thirsty for American energy, and we're not getting them that source. And so we have to do better. We need different kind of leadership in the U.S. Senate. I really believe the U.S. Senate ought to be a place where thoughtful leaders get together. They tackle these tough issues. They use persuasion, and we work together to solve these as opposed to just being divisive and populist. And I think what's happening in this country right now is that Americans across the country are really, really dissatisfied with the kind of leadership they see coming out of the White House, but also the Congress. And I seek to change that. So I'm glad to be back in it. John, that it's been 4 years since I left Washington, and I seek to go back to try to leave with the same kind of conviction I had before.
Scott, Ed Cox here. How long is it going to take? Oklahoma is a leading state with respect to energy production, always has been. How long is it going to take for the energy industry to crank up again and get up to a level that was before? I think it's about 12 million barrels a day. Wasn't that where they were?
Well, I know this, Ed. I know that when I was serving there and with President Trump's leadership, we did it in a very short time frame. I mean, as you know, we did it in a couple of years. And I think that we can look, it's not a matter of having access or being able to produce. That's not the issue, in my view. What the issue is presently is the transportation-related holdups that we have on pipelines and the rest, domestically and with Canada, but also the infrastructure to liquefy our natural gas, to turn it into LNG, to export it to areas of the world that are desperate for it. And we need to enhance our capacity there. And that could be done in a very, very, aggressive fashion by enhancing the permitting procedures. And the president today, in my view, can use National Security Authority to suspend some of those.
Yeah, he could use the Defense Production Act, couldn't he, to get it going?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
absolutely. And we have projects in Louisiana, we have projects in Texas, as you know, that we could liquefy more natural gas to get to those areas of Europe that want to wean themselves off of Russian energy. And so, look, these are geopolitical issues. Energy is like currency. It is used in ways that advantage and disadvantage countries across the globe. And we as a nation are blessed. And we need to, take our heads out of the sand as a country and recognize that we can produce, we can export, we can serve America's needs, and we can also protect the environment. We've done it. We've done it as a nation. Let me ask you this. Would it be better for the U.S. to be producing energy or China? Would it be better for the U.S. to be producing energy or India or countries like that? I mean, we do it better than anybody in the world, and we need to get back into the business of doing it.
You bet.
General, it's Judge Richard Weinberg. What I'm troubled by is the obstacles that the Biden administration on a daily basis is putting to production. They have new regulations every day, and they use every kind of agency they can get their hands on to stop permitting and drilling. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, most recently, the new NEPA regulations, the National Environmental Policy Act, every agency, as you know, that only impacts energy, Judge, but it impacts infrastructure, transmission infrastructure. So any project, the infrastructure package we had last year, all those projects have to go through environmental reviews, and the president and the White House made that far more difficult with their recent enactment. They enlarged the time frames, and they changed the substance in the requirements as well. They enhanced the maximum requirements. And so this administration is absolutely going backwards in so many different ways, practically, with the areas I talked about a minute ago, but then placing more regulatory hurdles, NEPA and permitting requirements that make these projects that much slower to bring to market. And that's more money, and it's less efficient.
Well, Scott Pruitt, I'm personally endorsing you. You've been my friend for a while, and get us some more information, and we'll have you on again real soon. And what we have to do, you have a website yet?
All that's being put together. Scott Pruitt Oklahoma has one site that people can go to. That's a small donor page that people can go and join the team. Scott for Oklahoma. .com, and then ScottPruittForSenate.com is the other that's, I don't know if it's online yet, but I just announced, I think it may be online, but if not, it's coming soon.
Well, thank you so much, Scott Pruitt, and we'll catch up with you again real soon. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Thanks, everybody.
Now, are we going to take a break now?
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll be speaking with Charles Gasparino. We're going to talk about CNN.
The market went from plus 300 to minus 300.
Yes.
That's 600 points. I'd like to know what Charlie has to say.